So thank you for being there. I know the day has been long, and you must be tired. Don't forget that there is a cocktail in like 45 minutes. So that will be the rewards for being with us. And I do believe that it's also a very interesting subject because we will be talking about tokenization. And actually, what is tokenization and how you can tokenize something and make it compliant with Web3 values. So we had the presentation of the ERC 3436, which is the X-T-Rex. It's a digital support, a token standard to securitize financial titles. So shares from a company, obligation, any kind of financial title actually. So it's great because it's coming from the regulator. It's a consequence of the pilot program from Europe. So it's a really nice first step for Web3. But the real question is, does it is enough to tokenize everything? And so that's why I have two great CEOs. You're both CEOs of your project, actually. He's a builder, but he's also a CEO. And Alain is a former banker for 25 years, but he's also a builder and a CEO of TAL. And both of you are working on the next layer, the next step after the securitization to actually create some Web3 compliant token. So what can you do? What can you tell us about that? First, the securitization first, what's good, what are the limits, and what's come next after that?
Okay, hello everyone, I'm Stan from pieces.market, and I'm a co-founder and CEO of it. The thing that I want to start about all the securitization, tokenization, real-world assets is the thing that I don't know if you agree with me or no, but for me the most exciting thing about the entire blockchain ecosystem and Web3 itself is that everything may be programmable. We can create really complex automatized mechanisms without any middlemen between. And of course, it's quite easy to do this with any kind of digital assets. We can do this with NFTs, with just normal tokens. We can trade, let's say, Ethereum for USDT and stuff like this, and we can all automatize it all thanks to smart contracts and stuff like this. But now let's imagine what the possibilities are if we are able to also use this method of automatized mechanisms without middlemen also to real-world assets. Let's say we have something like an ownership of a car, and we can put it on blockchain and then make the same mechanisms about it like we do with digital assets. But yeah, so this is why this topic is so exciting to me. But now this is the question, like how to do this, because it can't be that simple. You just can't write on the blockchain that someone is the owner of something, of some real-world asset, and that's it. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know, it's like we have some legal system right now, and of course, most of things need to be settled outside Web3 in a traditional world, and now we are working on how to move all these settlements from traditional worlds to Web3 worlds to be able to create things like this.
So basically what you're saying is that we went into full decentralization mode without any middleman, and that it can work for digital assets, but as soon as you're linked to an underlying that is a real-world asset, an underlying asset that's in the real world, the Web3 has no answer for that.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we will still need some middlemen, especially at the beginning during the process of tokenization and stuff like this. But this is the most important thing, that when we already have something tokenized, we don't need these middlemen anymore.
Yeah, we can still improve a lot of markets and a lot of sectors, but it cannot be done in a trustless way, or at least in a fully trustless way. Like the securitization allows you to own a company, but you have no info about what is the underlying asset of the company, or even what the company is actually doing, or stuff like that. So it works for some kind of things like financial titles that are already regulated in the real world, but it won't work for basically anything else. Alain, you have something to say?
Well, Andrea, the first thing I'd like to say is that I love the title of this workshop, Real World Asset, and DeFi or CeFi in our case. The kind of asset that we are dealing with is the least regarded asset that you can think of. It's cash, it's currency, it's what we call money, whether it's in your pocket or in a business's pocket. And I'll take a few minutes just to give you a very concrete example of what we are doing. Imagine that you are a startup, or you are a DAO, or you are a foundation, and you have raised money, you have raised funds to implement your project. What have you raised exactly? What is your money? Your money is mainly composed whether of currencies stored on a bank account, or maybe composed of tokens, whether your own tokens, which have value if they are quoted on a platform, or other tokens, which have value if they are quoted on other platforms. But what you have as funds is very volatile, and for part of it, for the part which is in the bank, doesn't belong to you. So what is interesting us is how can we protect your funds in such a way that it's always stable, always available, always liquid, as if you were having money in your pocket. Today, the cash comes in three variants. One is what is on your bank accounts. One is what is in your pocket or under your mattress, banks and notes. And the third one can be said is tokens. But 99% of all the value is stored on bank accounts. So this money doesn't belong to you, it belongs to banks. If you are a startup and your money is stored at SVB, you know what it is when a bank is defaulting or is menacing to default. Your problem with your funds is to be able to pay your developers, your lawyers, your suppliers. What we provide is a real-world asset, which is a basket of 6 currencies and physical golds. 3 European currencies, 3 Asian currencies, and some physical gold. This is the asset that we are going to tokenize. Why this asset? Because we think that, and we have demonstrated that it's more stable than any other currency, that it protects your value, that it is protecting from the default of the bank system, meaning that if you take your money out of your bank and send it to us, if we default, you will not lose your money, whether if your bank is defaulting, you will lose your money. So that's the real world value that we want to bring, protecting one's cash, whether individuals or businesses. Now, what can Web3 add to this service? Because this service can exist without Web3. Send us your money, make a wire transfer, we'll convert your money into our basket, and it will be liquid, available everywhere, and you will be protected more than what you are doing today. But what is Web3 bringing? Many things, in fact. First stuff, basic blockchain.
the traceability, yeah.
The proof of ownership is on a blockchain.
The custody, the self-custody. Yeah.
You have sent us money, which is your money, which is still your money, but you have a proof of ownership of this money. If my servers are burning and you just can show to a judge your side of the contract, there is no counterpart, so how is the judge going to know whether this contract has been alterated or not? If we store this proof of ownership on a blockchain, I mean, I may be disappearing, my servers may be burning, but there still will be a proof that the contract that you are showing to the judge has not been alterated and is on the blockchain. So that's first stuff. I protect your proof of ownership. Second stuff you were mentioning, securitization, tokenization. What's the interest? The interest is to foster rotation, to ease exchanges. It's easier to exchange tokens than it is to send wire transfers from one to one. So getting through tokens, it helps, fosters the system and rotating more and more. So that's another dimension. The third dimension, which may be not totally relevant to this workshop, but I want to mention it because of a previous workshop a few minutes ago. Through the Web3 approach, there is a community approach. Everything that I'm telling you is, give us your money, it will be more protected by me than by anyone else. Do you trust me? I will provide you a lot of reason to trust me, but there is only one final trust, is can you control whether what I say I have in my coffers, my vaults, and my accounts, I still have it. Can you control that 100% of my assets are liquid and available? Through the Web3, through a DAO approach, you can vote to audit our funds at any moment and with any auditing company. I'm not going to provide my preferred auditing company, which is my company since 5 years and which is carefully filling the right stuff and say, okay, everything is in the coffer. No, let's change every quarter the auditing company. The community votes just to verify whether I've got this liquidity, yes or no. So what is Web3 bringing to this kind of service of protecting your money? It's the non-alteration of the proofs of ownership in that case. It helps rotates much easier, so it's ease of use for the users, for the customers. And there's a community dimension which is very important and which you will not find in the real world, or not as easily.
Okay, thanks. There is a lot to unravel there, but at least we know what we will be talking about. Maybe to even the conversation, you could introduce what you are doing with pieces.market, because it was about to come, but let's go there, and then we will enter in both of your industry stakes and challenge and see how you are addressing them.
Okay, so to give you this needed context, in pieces.market with my lovely co-founders, we build a marketplace for fractionalized luxury investments. So we believe that thanks to blockchain technology, thanks to all the things that we mentioned and a lot of other reasons, what we can build is a solution that allows everyone to invest in luxury assets. So let's say we have some $1 million Patek Philippe. Probably there is the value of the watch can be...
For the poor people, a Patek Philippe is watches.
Yeah, like a luxury watch. Like this is.
I didn't know what was a Patek the first time.
Know what's the time?
Thank you. Yeah. So for most of us, probably this is. Maybe for someone, yes, but not for most of us. The investment like this, it's not so affordable. So maybe we can create a mechanism to allow people to invest, let's say, in 1% of it or in 10% with it. And of course, we can't wear this watch, but we can still have a lot of investment benefits. So let's say if the price will go up after 5 years, let's say this watch will be sold again, and then we can redistribute an income from sale to the owners of tokens. And thanks to this mechanism, like everyone can invest in this class of assets. Of course, this is some simplification that I just made. But in general, this is the direction. And I mentioned you about watches, but our end game is to be a platform for many brokers with a lot of different class of assets. So because there are some brokers that are specialized in luxury watches, in some vintage cars, but there are also things like Pokemon cards, some expensive shoes or anything like this. And this market is getting bigger and bigger, and there are a lot of interesting opportunities. And because of this, one of the biggest challenge for us is how to make a universal process for a lot of different class of assets, because the situation with watch is a little bit different than with, for example, a car. And there are things that are even more abstract. Like, for example, at the beginning, I asked my co-founder, who is a broker of luxury assets, what assets could you give us for sale on our platform? And he mentioned watches, cars, art pieces, but he also mentioned Arabic horses. So on our platform, there would be a possibility to invest, like, let's say, in a small portion of Arabic horse, but then the process is so much more complicated than in a case of just a watch. So yeah, this is the big challenge, how to create not maybe a universal process, because it can't be one process, but to be able to create one sample process and then to go into the different
streamline
paths.
the tokenization of many kind of assets.
Exactly.
So both of you are trying to tokenize something, we can say that, and both of you need to rely on something that's more than securitization, because, for example, if you're tokenizing the company that's holding the watches, I have no control over that. And if ALAIN is tokenizing the company that's holds the basket, that's the same thing. Basically, if the company goes down, that's what you were saying. If you just tokenize the company, then as a shareholder, you're protected by nothing, you have nothing. And as a customer, you're also coming in the very last position in terms of reimbursement and during the liquidation. So clearly, it can be the way that Web3 will accept real-world assets. For example, if we want DeFi to serve the real economy, we need to inject the real economy in DeFi. So DeFi has to accept the real economy, and for example, a car is coming from the real economy. So the first question would be, what's the first challenge, or what is the first thing to do to dream about collateralization of real-world assets in DeFi? Because I think it's the end game. Otherwise, it doesn't serve any purpose. It will maybe streamline some process, but it won't benefit from all that RWA can get by living in the Web3 world. So for you, Alain, what are the steps that you have taken to create some kind of product that could be accepted by by anyone on Earth, basically, and someone that don't know your companies and don't know what you're doing? Are you, tell us your thought process.
It's really a mindset. As you've noticed, I'm not as young as many of you. And I've seen a few waves of new technology coming on the market. And each time a new technology is making a big splash in the real world, it's because not because it's innovating, but because it's bettering something which was done poorly or which can be done in a better way.
You're resolving a pain point.
Yeah. So for the Web3, it's exactly the same problem. That's why I presented my company in the way of, there is a problem. The problem is that your cash doesn't belong to you and is not protected from loss of value. How can we solve this problem? And now, how can Web3 help this problem? And once everyone will know that you can protect your cash, your money from the banking system because you are relying on Web3 and not that Web3 has been designed to fight against banks, which may be interesting or not. That's not the problem. The problem of everyone is my money worth something? Right now, it's worth something as long as the bank tells me that I've got this money and it has a worth. But if the bank is disappearing, it's worth nothing. So let's use this new wave of technology, which is Web3, to improve everything which has been done with the previous waves. So to me, it's really focusing on something very concrete, very simple, that everyone is using every day, and say, look, if it has not been tokenized, that would be a pain in the ass. We should be dealing with wire transfer everywhere and so on. You would not be protected as much in terms of proving that it's your money and that it's liquid and so on. So let's focus on very concrete examples and let's promote what Web3 is bringing to improve the service to the people. That's our mindset. Starting with a real problem and proving that Web3 is helpful.
But about the, you're trying to explain to the, let's say, the real world, the benefit of Web3. But what will make Web3 accepting your assets? Like, I'm a Web3 user. I will need to have some insurance. You know, we are in a trustless world. And you're coming and you're saying, look, I have this basket, give me your money, I will do something with that, and trust me, it will still be there in 1 year, 2 years,
and Web3
5 years.
Is not enough. Web3 is not enough. There is a regulatory and legal environment. We are based in Switzerland because, as it was said in previous workshop, we have the chance to be able to cherry pick the right regulation. So do I really want to confront MiCA next year starting from France, or should I start with a lighter regulation in Switzerland or a more lighter regulation somewhere else? We can cherry pick that, but in our case, regulation and law is key. So we are here to promote trust, not trust in us, trust in the regulatory environment, in the legal environment, in the financial environment, in the way that the community can interact and can protect herself towards anyone who is going to, and anyone being mainly bank, against everyone who is going to want this project not to leave. So Web3 alone is not enough. Web3 has to take into account regulatory bodies. And some regulatory bodies are more prone to accept innovation than others. So let's cherry pick, but do everything, think of the regulatory constraints before. Starting a business right now with the best code is not enough to succeed. Regulation is going to be a pain in the ass for everyone in the future. It is a pain in the ass right now for everyone who has USDT or USDC should know that it can lose its value at any time, not because you don't trust Tether or not because you don't trust Circle, just because the US regulatory body can do something which is going to block the system. So think really first with the regulation and adapt what is good, and there are many things good in the Web3, and the DeFi, if you can do it in a DeFi way, but adapt it to the reality. Don't think that using Web3, the reality is going to adapt to what you've built.
So you're basically saying that Web3 alone is not enough to create a trustless link, and that you need to add an extra layer of legal stuff on top of it. What do you think about that, Stanislas?
I fully agree. Like, I hope that someday we will build a system in that way that it will be possible to organize everything inside Web3, but it may be wishful thinking. And especially right now, there are like two big differences between Web3 and real world with real legal aspects. So, of course, yes, in case of our projects, we are not about tech. At the end, there are a lot of big legal challenges that we need to work on outside Web3. And as I understand, you asked what we can do to get, let's say, trust from DeFi protocols or Web3 users.
Or to not need that.
Yeah, I mean, let's say I said trust, but of course the goal is to do this like without trust and to make them sure that they can use this solution as they want. So of course, the first thing is that they need to be sure that if we promised something, this is what it's going to happen. In our case, there are like two most significant things. It's not even about the ownership. The question is not if I'm really the owner of 1% of the asset, because it may sound quite crazy, but this is not the most important. The most important thing is you promised that if the price of the watch will go up and it will sold again on the secondary market, I will get my part of it. And the second big promise is that there is a DAO, and you as the token holder, you have some impact on the decisions about the asset. So at the end, in our case, maybe in other cases it's different, but at the end, it's not always about being sure about the ownership. It's more about being sure about the certain rights that you have to a specific asset. And in that case, of course, there's a lot of legal work that you need to do, a lot of agreements outside Web3, a lot of confirmation from different parties. Let's say we have this watch, I like to use it as an example. Of course, we need to go to some insurance company, to a storage company. We need to someone who will verify that this watch is truly a Patek Philippe, not just some fake watch bought no one knows where. And of course, we need to make sure that all the buyers are like everything is fully visible for them. They can analyze everything, then they can make their own opinions if they can, still, again, I will use the word trust, because at the end, we build this trustless solution, but at the end, the person must trust in this solution. We connect all these third parties, and we need to collect all these documents, all these agreements, all this confirmation from different parties, and we have to put it somewhere to allow future investors to be able to check everything and to make sure that all the things that they can see are true. And of course, there are a lot of ways, a lot of ideas how to do this.
So you said so much bad words.
Yeah,
you said trust, you said middleman. Does this mean that...
Let me explain this, because I fully understand that from the technological perspective, like if you are a dev watching a GitHub, like open source code, you don't need to trust. You can look at this and verify. And it's, of course, it's simple. And for us, for people inside the ecosystem, it's quite obvious that we don't talk about trust. We are talking about checking things and making sure that this is true. But we need to remember, this is why I use the word trust. Most of users in a crypto ecosystem, they don't have skills enough to verify GitHub. They don't have enough skills probably also to analyze super long agreements to make sure that there is nothing wrong about it. So at the end, of course, we need to build solutions with the remembering about less trust, more truth, as we always say. But for the end user outside the ecosystem, at the end, it is about trust. Maybe it's controversial opinion, but this is what I think about it.
I think that's really interesting because I'm no dev. I believe in trustless, but actually I'm not able to check. So in the end, I have to trust. We will have to finish the panel because we are late. But maybe Alain, you want to add something and maybe talk 2 minutes about the fiducie and trust agreement.
Just to go in the same direction as Stanislaw. Trust needs verification. That's what our friends of Logion have said and said and said, and have developed their platforms, which is a mix of technology and legal stuff. And everything which is going to build trust needs to be verified, and this trust will not be accepted by the large public if it's only based on codes, because
the public don't know codes.
Knows how to code. So why should I trust something because it has been coded? I don't even know what is a code. So it cannot be enough. We know that it's a key, it's the cornerstone of building stuff that are very robust. But we cannot relate only on code is law or code is the answer. The rest of the world doesn't know what is code. So why would they trust code? You have to mix things. Yeah,
really interesting. So I will conclude because really she's giving me some big eyes. So we want to have real RWA until we are able to import a legal layer on Web3 and importing Web3 in the legal world too. That's it, in the end. Allowing people to benefit from another layer of protection on top of the code is law, and the law is the code, you know, and you have the both protection. Basically, what's already facilitating economical transaction in the real world. Like you're buying a car, if there is a defect on this car or an issue, you know that you can make a claim, you have a solution, you have backup. You're not blindly buying a car. It's like a contract when you're buying a car. So that's what we are doing. We are trying to allow in a as trust minimized as possible way this legal layer that's facilitating the economy into Web3. And you have 1 minute, Stanislas, if you want to answer.
Yeah, I want to tell something about it because I think this is the problem with this connection between Web3 and real world. Like in the real world, when we are buying a car, we can always go to the
dealership,
the dealership and watch the car exactly, see if there are any problems with it and make a decision. Worst case scenario, if we can't go there, maybe we can ask for a video or we can send our friend to see it. In that case, this is again a discussion about trust, but it could be like another panel about it. But in that case, in most of cases, we can't see exactly what's inside, let's say, this watch, car, or anything. So at the end, especially now, we just need some people that at the end we can trust. And it's...
people are a system. Because our economy is just a system that we can trust. And that's why you're buying a car, because you know if it's not working, you can make a claim and go in court and have an issue.
Yeah, exactly. This is why we need to build a legal system in that way that we have some confirmation. But if there is something wrong, we can go to the court, and then we can win the case because we proved that someone, for example, lied to us or did something wrong. So in that case, of course, it's about trust again, but also about some strong things that were confirmed, but specific people that at the end we can go to church against.
So we will need a trustless trust layer.
Exactly, yeah.
But
1 minute, Alain, and
that's
it's
where
over.
you need a community of ambassadors and not only a set of customers or clients. You need a community. Community is part of Web3, it's the DNA. So when you want to reach trust, because you don't decree it, you don't say, trust me. Everyone is going to trust you slowly. And the community is going to help to trust you more quickly, because some of them are convinced and they will convince someone else. So this community approach is very key to build trust.
So to wrap up, and we will end there, we need the best of both worlds.
Exactly. They need to go together.
Yeah.
Because they are going to solve
They need to make babies together,
problems which are in both worlds. So let's make them work together.
Yeah, like we need to connect like the two solutions from solutions from two words, because basically what we do is connecting these two words. So I can't imagine like just using solutions from one word, connecting both of them.
Yeah, I agree. So thank you very much. You can applaud them because they are actually tackling a big problem, and it will change the economy forever, I hope.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
If someone wants to discuss more about it, I'm open to talk.
Let's go to the cocktail and talk about tokenization of asset there. We will be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.